What up, guys? Johnny Ward, host of the Nerdyverse of Madness, and I'm throwing at you another voice memo Monday. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on Instagram about this one, so I'm going to keep it coming. Really, though, if you have some stuff, if you're listening on Spotify, you can throw stuff in the Q&A section. I always leave that open on these. Give me topics to talk about, thoughts, stuff. Sometimes my brain is just spitting out random shit. This is a little bit of a shorter one because, as you may have saw, I got in a car accident. I am fine. Median is not. However, usually I do most of my memos on the weekend when I'm driving around, running errands, etc. However, I wasn't able to. So this is what you get. You get what you get, and you don't get upset. Without further ado, here it is. This past weekend, the wife and the kiddo and I went to Value Village, which is Savers for you U.S. listeners. There's a plaza that we go to that's got a grocery store, the Value Village, a really nice used bookstore, and a fish and reptile store where we get all our supplies for my kid's beta. Anyways, I was in Value Village and I got really excited by this unread copy of The Abyss. I originally thought it was unread, but the spine is so immaculate you can barely tell that it is read. And there was a guy shopping who got really curious about how excited I got by this stack of books. Particularly, he saw my excitement for The Abyss. And I probably will have posted those on my Instagram by the time you guys are listening to this. So if you're interested, go check it out there. Now, I was walking to the toy bags with my kid, looking through the figures, looking for some hidden gems, as I do. And the guy came up to me, and he had a super bad sweater, so I know he couldn't be half bad. And he started asking me about books. And he was kind of curious, like, is there a market for those and stuff like that? And I could tell by his cart that he was a flipper. He had some band shirts in there. He had a few sporadic DVDs, stuff like that. And my initial reaction was to be like, nope, no market whatsoever, because I am grabbing these ones to flip. I just need to find a market for that. If there's any online book markets for paperbacks that you know of, please let me know in the portion at the end that'll allow for questions. But my initial reaction was to be like, no, I like books, which is true, but I didn't want someone scooping up, because Value Village does have a lot of people who just stand by the back door and scan stuff with their phone. But I was like, well, I mean, yeah, there is, and I had a lot of horror paperbacks, and the majority of the horror I had in this particular trip was for my personal collection as opposed to flipping. All the fantasy I had was for flipping. And I explained to him that, like, yeah, I mean, mostly you want to go for unread copies, with the exception of a few. Anyways, he was very grateful, and then he showed me this little feature that you can do with your with the Google app. You can take a picture, and it'll scan and link you to results, including shopping options, so you can get pricing and stuff like that. Now, I felt like an idiot because I had seen that scan thing all the time before in Google, and I've seen people scanning all the time, but I thought they had some sort of fancy flipping device or something like that. Anyways, the point of my little rant is that my initial reaction was to be a little selfish with my information, but instead I shared it to pay it a little bit forward, and I was rewarded. Now, I know this isn't really all that nerdy, and anyone who personally knows me is probably like, but Johnny's an asshole. I have my moments, but I do try and be the bigger person. And basically, the moral of the story I'm saying is, spread some kindness. If you want to help other people succeed, I'm sure, I am 99% certain that helping others succeed will reward you and help you succeed as well. Alright, enough of that mushy gushy stuff. Yeah. So I've seen it all over the internet. I haven't watched the trailer yet, but Bad Batch Season 3. I haven't watched the trailer yet because I watch it, any new Star Wars, pretty much any new anything I watch with my kid first, but especially Star Wars. So I haven't watched it yet, but I am aware that we're going to see Ventress. Whether or not she's back, whether it's a flashback or something is unclear. It better be a flashback, because if she's alive, it is going to ruin one of my favorite canonical novels of all time, Dark Disciple by Christie Golden. It is the best fucking Star Wars story. I love it so much. And I'm always recommending it, and I think it was the perfect end to her character. So if Dave Filoni is just going to glance over that, I'm always Team Filoni, man, but this one's going to hurt a bit, I must say. We'll see. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to write a blog post about this, but I just wanted to get out in case I didn't. Me and my son have been diving into Studio Ghibli. Only 3 or so in? Yeah, 3. So we watched Spirited Away, My Neighbor Totoro, and then this weekend we watched Princess Mononoke. Holy shit, was that a fucking good movie. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I've been sleeping on this stuff for so long. But honestly, Princess is one of the best movies I've ever seen. Not just animated, like one of the greatest. All of it is just so fucking magical, and I can't get over how good it is. Me and my kid are going to try and make an effort to watch one every weekend. We're also trying to finish One Piece by the end of the year. I don't know, but I think this weekend we're gonna watch Howls, maybe Kiki's Delivery Service, we'll see. But yeah, comment in the little box on your podcast app about whether, well, actually I don't know if it comes in all of the podcast apps, definitely on Spotify though. Comment what one I should watch next, and we'll go from there. So I was talking to Judith Sonnet today. Absolute sweetheart, helped me out immensely. She posts a lot of 80s kind of horror, old school paperback horror books. Wow, words are hard. But I've been wondering if she's just thrifting them or if she's getting them from a particular marketplace, because I have a few more on the fantasy side, but also in horror that I kind of want to sell. I want to get a fair value for them, but I also don't want to take them to like a used bookstore. I'd rather they be sold to someone who would appreciate them, hence be willing to pay the proper value, etc. Anyways, I was talking to her and she pointed me in the direction of a couple Instagram bookstores. It was really helpful. I don't know. I've done the Instagram thing with Dominus Comics. I'm going to bring that back and sell through the Nerdyverse website, I believe. But the whole point of me making the Nerdyverse of Madness was so I didn't have a bunch of Instagram accounts to bounce between, and I could kind of just at least collect the madness into a funnel and direct it. But Dominus Comics is a registered business here in Canada, so maybe I will use it. It's a registered collectible and book business, so I can use it for those options. I don't know. I think I might do it that way, but I would just kind of post them all before making it live and then just like pop up on Instagram. I don't know. We'll see. Any feedback would be great. But I also slipped in like, hey, I would love to interview you because I do really, really want to interview Judas on it. And talk about a couple things. Anyone who can turn a passion they have into a full-time job is someone I really want to talk to, and that is exactly what Judith did with No One Rides for Free. And that's the only book of hers that I've read. I want to read a couple more before I talk to her on the podcast, because I just feel that's just what I want to do. And Beast of Burden has been sitting in my Amazon cart for a while. Black metal splatterpunk, extreme horror, yes, fucking please. Though I love the first two Harry Potter films so much, I hate that they gave Voldemort a fucking nose in Philosopher's Stone. Like, why? Why? Why?